Welcome everyone to episode 101 of the Chris Parrish podcast. Who is it going to be? Now you might be wondering, who am I talking about? And we'll get to that. But first things first, got to give the shout outs. Shout out to Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And give a shout out to Beardcade YEG. They're all the official partners of the Chris Parrish podcast. Beardcade, if you want to check them out, 10544 82nd Avenue, live in Edmonton, Alberta. You can check all the amazing events, whether it's local sports teams, whether it was the upsetting Toronto Blue Jays Game 7 loss in the World Series last night, or it's the amazing WWE PLEs and the amazing AEW pay-per-views. Beardcade YEG is your choice of destination. And obviously the home of Turnbuckle Studios is the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. So go check out the Turnbuckle Studios on all those platforms, because without that, Chris Parrish Podcast wouldn't be here. If you also want to check and follow me out, if you want to check out all the platforms that I have, go check out my link tree down below. That also gives you the Spotify account where you can also check out the Chris Parrish Podcast. So make sure that you go there and you rate each episode. That'd be very nice and very appreciated. Very appreciated. Yeah. It's early. It's 12:15 p.m. Eastern, but that means it's earlier for me. So pardon me. But we got a lot to talk about. But quickly, we had an amazing Saturday night's main event last night. And I just want to touch on that a little bit. We saw 4 awesome matches, 4 title matches, and 2 new champions. So congratulations to CM Punk on becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion. And a congratulations goes to Jade Cargill for becoming the new Women's Champion, as CM Punk defeated Jey Uso and Jade Cargill defeated Tiffany Stratton to wear gold. And we got to give a shout out to that photo that surfaced online with Cody Rhodes and Ricky Saints, along with CM Punk and Jade Cargill. Yes, anybody who knew anything. They were all once members of AEW. Don't know how many people would have seen that. I don't think I ever would. But as well as those matches, we also saw Dominic Mysterio retain his Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match versus Penta and Rusev. We also saw Cody Rhodes retain his undisputed championship against Drew McIntyre. Now, if you asked me what I thought the match of the night was, I'm going to have to go with the triple threat. Because that was the one match I actually was not sure if Dominic Mysterio was going to retain his title. Now, I didn't think Cody Rhodes was going to lose his title. I had a very firm feeling that both CM Punk and Jade Cargill were going to walk out as champions. But Dominic Mysterio had that he had that part in his show, or in his match, where as much as I was hoping he would keep the title, you were wondering if he maybe didn't need the title anymore. He was already at that status. We have CBRS Entertainment coming in saying, good morning to you. But I mean, it's past noon for you. So it's good afternoon to you. But yes, it's pretty much still morning. It's for me. Gotta love the time change, which, by the way, daylight savings today. So make sure everyone be appropriate with your clocks before you go to bed. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio to me was I was uncertain if whether or not he was going to retain that championship or if he was going to lose it. Because let's face it, with Rusev and Penta both vying, they both had multiple opportunities at that championship and still were nipping at the heels of Dominic Mysterio. Mix that with Dominic Mysterio's popularity rising, with his stardom rising. Is Dominic Mysterio ready for that next level? I mean, you're asking all these questions, so why not? We saw it with Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. He was ready to go further from the Intercontinental Championship. So the trigger was pulled to remove that title away from him. I was wondering if we were at that stage with Dominic Mysterio. Luckily, we weren't, because I do think it's good that he still holds that championship. I mean, you can make the case that when Randy Orton was Intercontinental Champion, his title reign helped establish him to be more ready for that next step when it was over. And because of that length, allowed him to grow and really make the championship that much more meaningful. So I do think Dominic Mysterio can benefit from a long title reign, which he has. But at some point, I do think that title reign is going to come to an end, probably in the next 3 months, if I'm making a prediction. I thought the match between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes was something I was really unsure about, because how many more times are we going to see Drew McIntyre get a championship opportunity, visually get the wrong end of something, and then still lose? The reason I ask that is at some point the fans are going to see the obvious. They're going to see the points that Drew McIntyre are making, and Drew McIntyre is slowly going to get more support than pushback from the fans. And because of that, I just wonder if the fans are going to perceive Drew McIntyre closer to where they perceived Dolph Ziggler, where it was, we want this individual to be champion, but it's clear as day that you're not going to believe him. It is clear that we can be as loud as we want. You're not going to give him the run. So I'm just wondering, are we closer to that type of scenario for Drew McIntyre? Or would it just make sense to let Drew become champion now? And then we see the seeds inside Cody Rhodes turn, as I believe Cody Rhodes in this second title reign is accepting what happened in his first, where his first reign, when we look at it, tore him emotionally. A, just to get the championship, but B, saw what being a champion did to friendships, allegiances, alliances, making him a marked man. All of a sudden, the scenarios that were presented to him might not have been just business or personal. They were a combination of both. But maybe that's not just by his standard or his perception. You can look at the feud with Kevin Owens and say, hey, Kevin Owens just wanted to be champion. You can agree on that. Both men can agree on that. But then when scenarios arise, both men have different concepts of how to play fair. You know, all of a sudden you clash. People change. And that's what happened. But the emotional take away from that is Cody Rhodes lost a friend. So he had to deal with all that pressure the first time, all that emotional baggage from the first time. So does this second run now almost put an emotional piece of armor on Cody Rhodes to the point where he now understands that he has to go a little deeper, a little darker, a little more violent, a little bit more aggressive just to hold on to the championship? Because we saw last night, if he got disqualified or if he got counted out, he lost the championship. So, of course, Drew McIntyre is going to test his buttons. He's going to push every little one to see if he could break Cody Rhodes. Now, what we did see is Drew McIntyre bring the championship into the ring only to have Cody Rhodes. That's right. Cody Rhodes drops Drew McIntyre on the championship. Now, would that be a disqualification if the official saw it? Yes. But let's not forget, Drew McIntyre still brought the championship in. And a lot of times there will be leeway from the official that if person B brought an object into the ring and the object ended up striking that person accidentally, it usually gets thrown out in the sense of the referee kind of says, well, this is your doing, I allow it. So again, this is where you blur the lines. And I don't know if I like to continuously see Drew McIntyre in scenarios where the lines are so blurred that what he says isn't wrong, but then it makes him also look not like the monster that he should be presented as, not like the badass he should be, but now a complainer, a whiner, somebody who is stuck on a point and now has to argue it to nauseam just to get it through to others. That's just not how I want to see Drew McIntyre painted. So when is enough enough? And then if you ask me, I think the match with Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton was exactly what it should have been. Jade making a statement. Now, normally I would not like the champion where Tiffany Stratton was champion for over 300 days. And congratulations to Tiffany Stratton for having a reign that long on her very first one. It wasn't an easy one. She won the Money in the Bank as a heel, cashed it in with the turn, and then had to work and work and work for the acceptance of the fans, and did, while also growing as a performer, growing as an in-ring competitor, growing on a promo ability performer. On every step of the way, Tiffany Stratton was still growing up in her field, but she was also champion. And I thought she did a great job. I think the only thing that happened was that not so much the inexperience, but the mixture of knowing it was early in her career and then the emotional investment from the feuds, and then the continuously going back to Nia Jax, continuously almost having very little feuds that made you care like so much that it was the reason you tuned into the show. I think that made you feel that a change was needed. It did for me. And Jade Cargill not just represents a change, but somebody that has always been on kind of the outside or the second fiddle, or somebody that was also not looked at as a threat, but you knew one day will be. I think you have to see what she can be. And I think one of the best things that AEW did for her was put that TBS championship on her and let her reign as a champion. You now take her to present day, and 100% she is a completely more mature performer. As we have Bobby Bonito coming in saying, hello, Bobby, how are you doing? Talking a little Jade Cargill and her championship win from last night. But you have her in this present day. She's more mature of a performer, more mature of a person. And now she's ready to hold a championship in a different company, in a different perception, in a different light, and is a little bit more polished to do so. I have a feeling we're going to see a very confident Jade Cargill as champion. And I think the one thing fans need to be patient on, and not just patient in the sense that it's going to take a while, but from an in-ring standpoint, Jade Cargill, although she's better than where she was a few years ago, is still growing to become a professional worker. She is not at the level of a Stephanie McGear or a Rhea Ripley or Io Sky. So you have to be a little patient with her because she is going to get there. It's just going to take some time. And then finally, when we talk about CM Punk and Jey Uso, that match was absolutely fantastic, except you can tell the fans were confused on who to truly go for. Because as much fun as Jey Uso is with his crowd interaction, how much fun doing the whole yeet is, it almost takes away from his in-ring. And it almost seems like when the party of his entrance stops and then CM Punk comes in and takes over, it goes completely to Punk. And then in the match, you realize Jey Uso just keeps fighting, and keep fighting. Yes, I'm doing this for a reason. Because it's not just to do it again, but also showcases you how often he has to keep going and keep rolling forward and keep going at it. And that's exactly the type of performer Jey Uso is. That's why fans fell in love with him, because he represents the hard-working individual. But I think CM Punk was by far the right choice to be World Heavyweight Champion right now, because you can't afford to take a step back with that championship. And right now, with all the drama that's circulating Jey Uso, it might just be that. See it, Punk, you can keep the ground rolling. And now when Seth Rollins does come back, he has an even more ventured aggression towards Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, because of the same person that he made sure didn't hold the championship. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were responsible for making sure that he had it. Bobby coming in saying you're interested to see what is next for Tiffany Stratton. I'm very interested to see what's next for just about everyone on this show. What is next for CM Punk? What is next for Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Penta, Rusev, and now Dominic Mysterio as well. So the rumors are Dominic Mysterio is going up against John Cena at Survivor Series for the Intercontinental Championship in San Diego. If that's the case, sign me up. However, this also then could take away from what we also found out, and that is a 16-man elimination tournament that is called the Last Time Is Now tournament, starting in 8 days. Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow on Monday Night Raw, when it's live in Boston, Massachusetts. And that winner of that tournament will face John Cena on December 13th on the Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C., where John Cena will compete in his final in-ring match. So the question is, who is it going to be? But before we get to that, let's give a nice little plug for all our amazing videos, starting off with the calendar video, mixed in with our Redbubble ad, and then also just a little understanding of where you can find every single member of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program and how you can become one.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com.
That's right. Those two links you want to check out are carlcarafel.redbubble.com as well as turnbucklestudios.org. Now, with carlcarafel.redbubble.com, you can get, like you said, anything you want. It's not just clothes. You can get phone cases. You can get accessories. You can get so many different things. There are so many opportunities to represent any logo from the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, but to also just say you have tapped in. But if you truly want to tap in with your talent, please go check out turnbucklestudios.org, and you can check to see where you can be the right addition to Turnbuckle Studios. Now, we talked about John Cena's last time is now tournament. But what we didn't talk about was the addition of the information that we got. That's right. He said it was a beautiful video package explaining to us not only is there a tournament, but the contestants were going to be handpicked. They were also going to be from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and even from companies that don't, or from individuals that don't even work here. Now, what does that mean? Obviously, Joe Hendry is on the top of everyone's list, as he has been honest and open about stating that he wants a match with John Cena before John Cena is over, or his run is over. Another name that comes to mind right away is the Rated R superstar Edge, or the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland, depending on what company you follow. Because let's face it, one of the biggest rivals, if not the biggest rival to John Cena, was Edge. And we don't know the contract scenario for Adam Copeland, because we don't know if he's still under contract with AEW under injury time. Has he secretly signed an extension? We don't know. Nothing really has come to light, but we all know if there was an individual who wasn't an up and coming superstar, wasn't somebody to the next era of pro wrestling, and somebody from the past, a nostalgic act, Adam Copeland, aka Edge, would be the most acceptable person there. Could we see a returning Chris Jericho? Could we see any returning past acts in this tournament? As Bobby Bonito said, he hopes Ethan Page is in it. Now, this is going to be an interesting concept because, one, we're going to get different types of matches. Could we see a Dominic Mysterio versus a Joe Hendry in one qualifying match? Are we going to see Ethan Page against Braun Breaker? Could we see Obafemi versus Gunther? It's going to be very intriguing to see who's it going to be, let alone the field of 16. Now, I love the fact that 16 people was the number chosen. Why? Because without the first 16, you can't determine the never seen 17. So I kind of like the reference of choice on number for that. Now, this is the part of the show where I'm going to just let everyone kind of throw down people they think could be in the tournament. Not win, so don't get confused, but in the tournament. Because I don't think it's going to be 4 from here, 4 from there, 4 somewhere else. I think the majority are going to be performers in WWE. We might get 4 people outside of WWE. And Bobby Bonito coming in with one that I was just going to go with. Matt Cardona. I think could be a very, very intriguing candidate. Now, another one that I will say is Claudio Castagnoli. I say that because he was referenced by John Cena earlier. When we saw John Cena do his version of the pipe bomb or his response to CM Punk's pipe bomb, he mentioned Claudio Castagnoli. So could that be an option? This is the biggest what if probably this year. Because now you're going to go with, what if this person is in the tournament? What if that person is? Chris Best coming in saying Mr. Iguana or Vikingo could very well be in the tournament. Anybody can very well be in the tournament. But if I'm going to go anyone with AAA, I think Mr. Iguana would be the right one. I just don't see anybody in AAA making it far in the tournament. Because I know the question asked, who do you think will be in the tournament? I guess you kind of also have to think too, do you believe that they're going to go far? Now, a TNA member that I would love to see might just be one of the more relatable to John Cena in the right now, and that is TNA heavyweight champion, Mr. Mike Santana. Imagine a Mike Santana in that tournament. Another guy in TNA that I think would be so much fun to be there, to be in that tournament, is Eric Young. I don't know why, but there's something about Eric Young that I just think him against John Cena right now would be a match so many people never thought of, but would very much say, oh, I wish those guys worked back in the day. But it's going to be an absolute crazy next month and a bit, because we have 41 days. 41 days of John Cena left in WWE as an in-ring competitor. And here's the thing. He has 4 appearances left. Survivor Series in San Diego. The Raw next week in Boston. The Raw after that, I believe, in New York City. And then December 13th, Washington, D.C. for Saturday night's main event. And I could only presume that he is going to be there for the finals of that tournament. I could only imagine he's there, because you got to get that face-to-face. You got to get all that. But I will also say there is now an obvious reason to why there was not a tournament for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it was a battle royal to determine who faced CM Punk. It's now interesting to find out why there hasn't been very many tournaments as of late. Now, the only tournaments I could really think of are ones for the Speed title, but those have been established from the get-go for that same title. So it makes a lot of sense that we're seeing a 16-man tournament. And I would also assume that this is going to get you a little bit more riled up to see if maybe fans would want this in one night, spread out. I think this is also kind of showcase to see kind of the future of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments too. Anytime you see a tournament, I do think if the fans go to it, you see a positive reaction to the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. If they're anti-tournament, then that will be against it. CBRS is coming in saying, what if John Cena's appearance at Survivor Series is to help set up the match as it is the final, as the finals take place at Survivor Series? Yes, I do think the finals will be at Survivor Series. It would make a lot of sense because he would be present. He would obviously, again, be able to witness. I think John Cena should be the official for the finals. Because how apropos would it be if he raised the hand of his final opponent? So it's going to be very fun to find out who it's going to be. That's right. I'm sticking to the title very well. But I will also say here, it's also a great way of doing this now, posted at the end of the show, where I do have an announcement. And that is episode 102 next week. It's called Breakdown. And the reason for that just like every other episode, is multi-region. But one reason I'll give you and share now, I will break down who I think I would put in that 16-man tournament. Now, I say who I would put because we might get answers tomorrow on Raw. We might get our answers on SmackDown. We might get answers on Impact or even NXT or, Well, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. But we don't know when we're going to get unveiling of who's in this tournament. But next week, I'm going to break down who I would not only have in the tournament, but go down match by match and how I would break down this John Cena last time is now tournament. Why? Because, well, it's a fun idea. And who doesn't like to play the what if game in professional wrestling? Now, both Bobby Bonito and Chris Best have asked what's next questions, or at least made what next comments. And I like that. Why? Because I do want to talk about what's next. Who's next? What's next? It all comes together and all intertwines because I want to talk about what's next for every champion right now. Now, we know that some of the champions have title matches tomorrow. Like Dragon Lee and AJ Styles will defend their tag team championships against JD McDonough and Finn Balor on Raw. We know that most likely Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are probably going to defend their tag titles against the Kabuki Warriors at some point. And we know that the MFTs and the Wyatt Six are kind of going to that group versus group, but a tag team title style potential. Solo Sikoa has said that they are gunning for the tag team titles, and right now, there's been a slow build to get the MFTs into that tag title scenario. So I do think that is where we're going at some point. So that leaves all of the individual titles. What's next for CM Punk? Where is he going to take that World Heavyweight Championship? Do we see the return of the Ring General Gunther, or do we get Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed step up to the plate? Do we see Jey Uso come and step back up and saying, hey, you just barely beat me. I want another shot. Do we see Roman Reigns return and challenge CM Punk? Bobby's asking, I think at some point we will see Obafemi show up in Raw or SmackDown. I do too. However, with it being a November already, with the John Cena tournament, I wouldn't be shocked to see Obafemi in this tournament to take him kind of through the end of November. And then we're nearing December. You have him a part of the deadline match in NXT. You don't have him win. And then now you're rolling into January where he could be a surprise appearance in the Royal Rumble. And now we've already got into February and we haven't dictated where Obafemi is, but we've used him pretty well for the next 3 months. And then I think you make that decision the night after WrestleMania. In fact, why not a loser leaves NXT match between Obafemi and Josh Briggs at Stand and Deliver, where Josh Briggs beats Obafemi, and you give a giant rub to Josh Briggs as the new monster in NXT, the new ruler of NXT. Just to round out an idea. But that's next for Oba Femi. CM Punk. LA Knight, also an option. So it's going to be very intriguing to see kind of who steps up. I'm going to say this. I want LA Knight to be the next guy. Why? Because I know CM Punk understands where it is. I think he's going to do what he can to piss off Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. I think he chooses LA Knight because it was LA Knight who didn't get pinned in the triple threat match with Punk, Jay, and himself. So he wants to negate the LA Knight challenge. He wants to beat LA Knight to remove him from that scenario. And maybe, just maybe, this starts kind of putting you into a little bit of, hey, maybe LA Knight and CM Punk have to team up against the two. And that starts kind of going towards where we will be winding up in the next few weeks. Obviously, Survivor Series, whether it's a War Games, whether it's a traditional tag match, maybe we even get a Fatal 4-Way match over that World Heavyweight title. I wouldn't be against it. Now, we look at Cody Rhodes. It still looks like it's still going to be Drew McIntyre, but at some point I do think Randy Orton is going to make his claim. And I would not be shocked if Randy Orton turns on Cody Rhodes in the next month or two. And that is kind of where we're going all the way through to the Royal Rumble. With Dominic Mysterio, I do believe we're going to go to the John Cena match in San Diego at Survivor Series. And I might just go up and say, I think that's where John Cena wins the Intercontinental Championship. As for the United States champion, Ilya Dragunov, I do think the right person to take the title off him is Aleister Black. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody in the MFTs, like a Tama Tonga, but I don't think. I think they want to use the tag team of Tama Tonga and JC Mateo, or Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. And I just don't think they're going to use Tala Tonga in that way. If you're going to have somebody beat Ilya Dragunov, I think you need somebody who can go toe-to-toe, shot for shot with Ilya. And I honestly do think Tama Tonga is your best option in that MFT group. However, I do like the Aleister Black right when he and Damian Priest finish off. Bobby, I am also looking forward to seeing what they're going to do next with the TNA Knockouts title with Kalani Jordan, and thankfully, we will see a live Impact on Saturday or on Thursday, November 13th, and then on the 15th, we're gonna see it. We're gonna have TV tapings for Impact. So thankfully, it's not gonna be this week, but the week after, we're finally gonna get Impact live on a Thursday once again. So in due time, you will see what's next for Kalani Jordan And obviously, if you want any TNA coverage here on Turnbuckle Studios, please check out Bubba Duke with Brace for Impact every Thursday night. With the women's Intercontinental and United States picture, Becky Lynch seems to be tied up with Maxine, and then AJ Lee is right around that. But if I'm going to just decide to pick somebody outside that bubble, what if we do get an Io Sky going after the Intercontinental Championship? Would anybody be upset? As for the United States Championship, we do have Chelsea Green and Julia this coming Friday for the United States Championship. We know Tiffany Stratton is right around kind of that area with Julia. I do think Tiffany Stratton going after the United States Championship right now and focusing on that over the women's world title, I think that's the right way to go. Bobby wants Natalya as the Intercontinental Champion. Okay. Maxine has said, or did say on Raw, that she is working with somebody to go after Becky. Now, a lot of people will jump towards the AJ Lee train for obvious logistical reasons, but another obvious logistical answer is Natalya, as she and Natalya have formed the Dungeon Dolls and have yet to really get off the ground, obviously. And that has a lot to do with Natalya promoting her new book. So those are the mid-card championships. And now I got to go with Stephanie Vecchio and Io Sky, or not, and Jade Cargill. I'd love to see Bianca Belair return and do something with Jade. 100% love to see that. I also wouldn't be upset if we had maybe Nia Jax and Jade for a show or two. I don't think you need to go full on the Jade Cargill heel train right now. It's okay for Jade and Tiffany Stratton to be at odds with each other. But if you want to slowly burn Jade into that kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that tweener, I'd be okay with it. Especially if it's a temporary thing. But Bianca Belair coming back would fully embrace the heel Jade Cargill character, because now you're having Bianca Belair take her emotional seeds that she had with Naomi, with the confusing ones for Jade Cargill being, what got into you, you're not the same person that I won the tag team championships with. You're not the same Jade Cargill when I knew you. So we can go there. I do think there's a story there. So I'd be very intrigued with that. As far as Stephanie back here is concerned, yes, there is a lot of stuff going with her, and even with Nikki Bella, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez. And I'm going to go flat out. I would love to see a program with Raquel and or Roxanne, to the point where I would love to see Roxanne get a title opportunity down the line, only to see a returning Liv Morgan and see if she would then give Liv the opportunity over her, as Roxanne did in fact take a championship from Liv. When Liv got hurt, she did step in. So I'm curious to see if there's that, because let's face it, this could be the real moment of Liv accepting Roxanne in, whether it's the Judgment Day or with, what she thinks. Because you have to think, if there's ever a scenario with Liv Morgan back with Roxanne Perez there, Raquel Rodriguez is in the middle of this. So, going to be very intriguing. But if I was booking this, I would love to see Raquel Rodriguez get a great opportunity at Stephanie Vecchier and that Women's World Championship. Now, I did talk about earlier that I did have an announcement, and I will get to that, but I am going to play our promotional videos one last time before I do so. So starting off with our calendar, Redbubble, and then our help ad. Please check these out and stay, as I will have an announcement to follow.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day. The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at carlcarafel.redbubble.com.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And once again, those websites are carlcarafel.redbubble.com for all your online merchandise needs. If you want to rep Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, please go to carlcarafel.redbubble.com. But if you want to assert your talents, whether it's an on-screen, behind the stage, or even a writing term, whether it's pro wrestling, gaming, whatever the case may be, please go check out turnbucklestudios.org, as you can hit /join from that exact website and fill out a resume, an application, whatever you want to call it. But it's a way for us to get to know you and see where we could go down the road. But what do we have down the road? I already showed you episode 102 breakdown, as I break down John Cena's 16-man Last Time Is Now tournament, among other topics. But you're asking, but Parrish, you said you had an announcement, which I did, which I do. And here it is. Coming Saturday, December 6th, I will be doing a live watch party for NXT Deadline. That's right. The final PLE for NXT in 2025. NXT presents you Deadline live from San Antonio, Texas on December 26th, or December 6th, sorry. So 8 p.m. Eastern time, we will start, and we will have a lot of fun, because I believe that might be the final PLE of 2025, because Saturday Night's Main Event the week later is not a PLE. It's not a PLE. It's a live television show that we treat as a PLE, but it's not actually an official PLE. So that is the big announcement. So please check out that. It'll be a lot of fun. Can't wait. It's going to be very intriguing to see what is shaping up. Remember, deadline. We have the Iron Survivor match going at deadline. So we're going to see who becomes the men and women's Iron Survivor match winner. So please check that out. This has been episode 101 of the Chris Bears podcast. Who's it going to be? I want to say thank you to everyone who has checked this out. Please, can't wait to see you next week for episode 102. But until then, be happy, be healthy, be yourself, because at the end of the day, you matter.
Rip through the clouds, faster, catch us from falling close to the